I want you to think back to the best speeches you've ever heard, the most superior public speakers, the most professional communicators. You likely enjoy them or admire them, not because they simply talk without meaning, but because their voice has that hidden element that sometimes gives them an edge over the others. Some people call this the secret sauce of communication. What is it that makes an ordinary person's voice rise up and conquer the others? The answer lies in paralanguage. Paralanguage refers to the vocal elements that accompany spoken words, but not the actual words themselves. In simpler terms, paralanguage includes things such as pitch, tone, volume, speed of voice, or modulation. It is these elements that very often can transform ordinary speeches into professional, superior pieces of communication. Because something we have to remember as public speakers is that your audience is not merely listening to your words. They are listening to how you communicate those words, how you can turn those words, those set of ideas, into a meaningful and inspirational presentation. So that's why in this video, I want to explain exactly what paralanguage is, why it matters in public speaking, and how it transforms ordinary words into meaningful speeches. So, before we get started, I first want to thank my audience. Recently hit 3,000 subscribers, and I cannot say how thankful I am to all of you. I started this channel only recently and we're already at 3,000. I believe that if we can channel our passion for public speaking and communication together, we can not only understand how to better communicate, but turn this channel into a meaningful experience. So if you haven't already, subscribe, like, share, and comment with feedback and more video ideas, and I will be sure to implement them in the future. So let's get started. What is paralanguage? I previously described paralanguage as the tone or the voice elements that accompany spoken words. An example of this is if I were to say the line, "I am excited to be here today." Notice how my tone was simply bland and monotonous. It lacked the emotion that gave that statement, "I am excited to be here today," that weight. It makes the audience feel that you don't really mean that statement or your mind is someplace else. Compare that with this, "I am excited to be here today." Notice how that change in my voice automatically commanded that respect, but more importantly, it matched with what I was trying to say. Similarly, this suggests enthusiasm. If the speaker says this line in a quiet or dark tone, the audience will truly doubt whether that individual is excited. Paralanguage is that energy I put in. Now, the term paralanguage isn't important itself. It is the components that encompass it. So next, we'll discuss the key elements of paralanguage that can help us better ourselves as a whole. Research in communication has shown that your vocal delivery plays a major role in how the audience perceives you. So let's get started. First, we have the idea of tone. Tone, by definition, refers to the emotional character or quality of your voice. If we were to look back to that sentence I just said, "I am excited to be here today," I said that in an upbeat, or positive tone. A speaker's tone communicates confidence, seriousness, enthusiasm, or even concern. For instance, if a teacher were to try and explain an important idea, well, you would see them use a serious tone to hammer that down within the audience. As speakers, if we use the right tone in the right areas of our orations or speeches, it allows the audience to listen. Because you're no longer just somebody giving a speech. You are a person with emotions. You are a person who sounds authentic, means what they're actually truly trying to say. A mismatch between the tone and the words can create problem or even conflict. If somebody were to say, "This is a wonderful opportunity," but their tone sounds negative, tired, or set back, it communicates the wrong idea. Next, we have the idea of pitch. One thing I find a lot in public speaking is that pitch and tone are often confused or used interchangeably. In fact, even I still sometimes mismatch these terms. But pitch refers to how high or low your voice sounds. If a speaker were to use the same pitch throughout the speech, the entire presentation sounds boring or what we call monotonous. Effective speakers have the ability to vary their pitch so that the audience can stay tuned in. Let's demonstrate this with a simple thought experiment. I am currently speaking right now, and I am going to deliver a brief speech regarding public speaking and a journey. So I started public speaking approximately 5 years ago, and I would give speeches weekly until I improved through practice. I then competed in several competitive events, and now I am sitting here making this channel. Did that sound engaging to you? Compare that with this slightly shorter but pitch varied communication. I started public speaking approximately 5 years ago. I would deliver speeches weekly to hammer down the essential public speaking skills. After I improved, I would begin honing the art through competitive events. And now I am sitting here right now making videos on this wonderful channel. Notice how when I were to vary my pitch, I was able to capture the audience's attention. It no longer sounds flat or monotonous, it sounds engaging, varied, and more importantly, realistic. Now, pitch and tone very rarely are isolated. You'll use them together, and it is very rarely that you'll only need tone or you'll only need pitch. Pitch and tone are irrevocably intertwined. In a future video, we will be sure to discuss pitch and tone in more depth, but otherwise, let's move on to the next element of paralanguage, the idea of the rate of speech. Rate of speech dictates how fast or slowly you're speaking. Speaking too quick can make it difficult to have the audience understand. It can feel rushed and even difficult for the audience to follow, and as a result, they struggle to capture every single word you try and say. But speaking too slowly risks your audience losing interest. If I were to speak in this slow tone, you might feel sleepy, calm, and unengaged. And that is why it is important for speakers to vary their rate of speech. Do you notice how, when I spoke extremely fast, it was difficult to understand, and when I spoke extremely slow, it becomes unengaging and risks becoming monotonous? And that's why I find that it is an essential skill within your communication Whenever you're in a conversation, whether it be formal or casual, vary your rate of speech. This can sometimes be a very difficult skill to master. One trick I do to try and better myself in this is to put stress or emphasis on certain words or phrases. When I were to say an important point, I would usually speak with a slower rate of speech. But that isn't to say that I don't speed up at other points when I'm possibly transitioning or delivering another message. It is up to you, the speaker, to decide which parts of your speech you want to speak in a faster pace and which parts or phrases of your speech you want to speak with a slower pace. And really, the only way to do this is either by practicing again and again until it becomes second nature, or by recording your practice speeches or communicating with a friend or family member and having them rate your speaking skill. One thing I find is that if you mute or turn the video off and purely listen to the spoken word while looking at another tab, you will find that you will be able to better identify the elements of paralanguage and how you can improve them in your communication. Now, I talked about these 3 essential elements. That isn't to say that there are much more, and we will surely discuss those in the next few videos. But I just want to take a moment and step back to reflect the importance of paralanguage. Paralanguage is important because it establishes credibility. I like to think of communicating with paralanguage as cooking or baking. You have to decide the right amounts of the ingredients or the elements you have to put in your speech or piece of communication. In one speech, maybe you would prefer to use a more serious tone, pairing that off with minimal pitch changes, but still vary the tone of voice. It's modular, and that's the beautiful thing about paralanguage and public speaking. The important part about paralanguage is that it comes through practice and taking a step back. Very often I find that if you were to take a pause while you speak, record your speech as I discussed earlier, and review it, that is very often one of the only ways to improve within paralanguage. The last important tip is listen to professional speeches. Listen to keynote speakers. If there's an individual you admire, if there's a president, if there's a professional, listen to them. Put it on a podcast. Listen to him while you run, while you walk, while you do your other chores. You will find that through that practice and through that repetition, paralanguage will slowly become like another limb that you can do subconsciously without a second thought. But paralanguage is something that is continuously improved upon. Even I am improving on paralanguage. There are some things that I struggle to do, and that's natural as a speaker. The beautiful part about public speaking is that if you convey your ideas with confidence, if you convey your ideas with effective paralanguage, you will find that the audience remembers you and your message becomes heard. Once again, if you enjoyed this video and made it this far, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Next video, we'll discuss the importance of varying your pitch and tone within your communication. Otherwise, have a great day.